Hey friends, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Now give me a second because I am freezing. Y'all, it is cold. So, welcome in. Hello. I'm just getting a sweater on. It's cold. Sweater, jacket, whatever the heck it ain't something on me. It's cold. I'm cold. Welcome in, guys. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. We are in Dusty Granny's event group today, and it is Fabric It. So, we're going to work with some fabric today. Now, you guys have seen me work with fabric before. Sorry. Y'all have seen me work with fabric before because I use it a lot when I am doing like covers for journals and things of that nature. I mean, perfect example is this one right here. This was fabric. Okay, we covered a macaroni box. So, you know, we've used fabric multiple times on that kind of things. I've done snippets before. I was actually working on one for an upcoming raid train that I have. So I was working on that. Hello there, Miss Teresa. Welcome in. And thank you for sprinkling me out. I appreciate that. But I have a little project that I need to do, and I figured that since today was working with fabric, that I might as well do that project with y'all on the live. So I hope you guys will like what it is that I'm going to work on. By no means am I a seamstress, okay? I'm going to say that right now. Just like I will never say that I am a paper crafter, paper artist, whatever. Okay? I just like to play with stuff. I just love to play with stuff. How about that? Alright, I know that everybody has been amazing and sprinkled me out. Thank you so very much for that. I do appreciate it. Let me get myself sprinkled out right quick. I was making sure that, you know, I was where I needed to be when I needed to be. Okay. Alright. So, let me get you guys turned over here. Hey there, Fergie! Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. And let me get this camera down here. Hopefully turned to where y'all can see. Y'all don't need to see that, but I do need to try to see comments, so we'll need to do something. Will you flip? You're not gonna flip, are you? Like, you'll flip to the side. Why are you not flipping? Oh Lord. Never mind. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna work the way I wanted to work today. Nothing's just acting. Okay, we're gonna get started, because if not, I'm gonna be here till, you know, who knows when, trying to figure things out. Okay, so things you can do. Hey there, Miss Aimee. Miss Aimee is up after me. So things that you can do with fabric is like when you're crafting and you have scraps, you know, you can take the pieces, sew them together on a longer strip of fabric or on a piece of ribbon, or I've seen somebody use the calculator tape If you can find that, like at the thrift stores. I haven't found any, so you know, I use what I got. And you can just sew, and then you can add all kinds of like different embellishments to it. So because this one is for the breast cancer awareness raid train that I'll be in on the tomorrow on the 29th, I was going to add that button there to it as well, but I'll finish this up later. Okay, so what is it that we're going to be working on? So let me show y'all a little bit. Alright, so I have a little project, and this is going to be for a little, so I have an upcoming raid train on the 3rd that is called Animal Parade, and it's like holiday edition. And so they were giving people ideas that if you have like stuffed animals or things of that nature that are not necessarily like actual like holiday themed, to add something to make it holiday themed. So I was talking with my daughter, and I was like, hey, you know, could you make a hat? Like, because she, you know, she crochets, and I found this beautiful cute little pink penguin. He still has the tags on him and everything. I found him while I was thrifting. So I was like, hey, could you make a hat for him? And she's like, I can try. That might be a little hard. And I'm like, she's like, how much time do I have? And I told her, and she's like, and I'm like, okay. She's like, well, I could do a scarf. And so she's gonna crochet a scarf to go on him, on her. We determined it's a her. And I am going to be making a little vest for it. And so this is the material that I have. And she has some yarn that she's got cream and green and a little bit of red. So she's gonna do cream and green for the scarf, and then some little like red tassels on it. She doesn't have a whole lot of red yarn, so she's gonna work on that, and I'm gonna do the vest. And then I was like, hey, I have my raid train, you know, my event today is about fabric. So I was like, why do I not show you guys and we do it together? So we are going to make a cute little vest for a stuffed animal. Okay, and so yeah, so I thought that would be adorable. And she wants to make sure that I put buttons on the vest, so I gotta make sure I put buttons on the vest. So we are going to start by making a makeshift type pattern for it, and then we're gonna start cutting and all the things. Okay, you love it? No, thank you. So we're gonna be doing it together. I'm like, you know, you guys have seen me work with fabric in my journals and stuff like the longest. I was like, let me show you guys something else. The other thing that I was debating on doing was some slow stitching, which I love to do as well. And I've been doing lots of like little blocks of it lately, but I was like, well, I need to get this done, so we'll do this together. Okay. All right. Let me grab. We need a piece of paper, and because it, you know, it doesn't matter which one it is, I'm gonna use something where I printed something I wasn't supposed to. You love penguins? You've been wanting to learn how to make little clothes. Oh, okay, cool. So, I'm not perfect. I'm going to tell you right now. Just like I do with my journals, I don't like measure anything, okay? There's no like exact measurements. But the idea of this is what I've done in the past to make like little t-shirts and things of that nature for any of my daughter's stuffed animals, because she loves dressing her little stuffed animals up. And so this is kind of what I do. Okay, so the first things first is we need to figure out, right, our measurements. And dummy me, I did not bring in a soft measurement thing. So we're gonna roll with it. It'll be fun. It'll be fine. Paper's flexible. We can make it work. Ah, actually, you know what? We're gonna be smart about this. I may not have a measuring tool, but I have some ribbon, and I can use that, and I can use it to measure. So if you have a measuring tape, use a measuring tape. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use this little piece here. It's long enough for me to make the measurement that I need, okay, to come around. And because it's a vest, it's going to kind of come this way. Alright, so that means that if it were starting here, it would end right there. Okay, so it's going to be that length. Okay, so that's going to be my length. Now hopefully my paper, hopefully my paper is long enough for that. If not, we go straight on our fabric. Okay. Hello. How are you? How are you, my sweet friend? And this is a nice old piece. This is from Holiday in Paris by Dina and Friends for the In Beginning Fabrics 2003. So this is a nice little old piece of fabric. I love fabric. I love fabric. Okay, so first things first. Okay, this is a vest. It is the vests are the easiest thing to do. From here you can do a t-shirt, a sweater, anything like that. So you need to know kind of like how they cut up this stuffy. So you're gonna have to have this, the back, okay, and then we're gonna have our fronts. So let me first measure from here, and I always want to give yourself some seam allowance. And by separating it, I might be able to do my back on my paper. No, let me do it like this because he's kind of wide at the bottom. Okay. So, I just had a pencil. Hello there, Miss Brenda. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. So, today's event is called Fabric It. So, we are using fabric, okay, and I am going to show you guys my rough way of doing some little clothing for a stuffy, okay. And this is like without a pattern. You essentially end up making yourself your own pattern, if that makes sense. Yeah, she definitely has junk in the trunk. That's for darn certain. That's for darn certain. Okay, so I need to know, right, how far down am I coming with her? So I'm just gonna use the tip as my measuring. So I don't want her to come. I don't want the vest to be too low. So I know it's your favorite thing to do. And I'm just like, that's why I will never say that I am a person who sews, because I know that there are amazing ladies out there that can definitely sew. And I'm such an amateur. Like, honestly, everything that I pretty much know, I am pretty much self-taught, okay, if that makes any sense. Okay. Alright, now we are going to want to know kind of where the halfway point is. So it's going to be like halfway down its wing and into the back. So I have about that much coming out. And so that's going to be about my out part of it. So yeah, so I am definitely not you know, your typical sew person, because Lordy knows that I am just self-taught for everything. Hello there, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. We are in Dusty Granny's event group today, and it is all about fabric, and so we are fabricking it up. I hopefully that made sense. We are fabricking it up. We are doing everything with fabric today, and I am right now coming up with my pattern to be able to, okay, so from here to here, 5.5, so that would be 2, and that, okay, so that means that my halfway point actually puts it right there. Okay, so then I need to actually come over here. So again, not an expert, but I love to sew, and I love to use fabric in things, and my sister swears that I'm like the best seamstress ever, because I've made clothing for my kids, and when they were little, okay, it was a lot it was easy when they were little. And I've made like doll clothes for my daughter and stuff like that. I mean, we were talking about it, and she actually remembers that. Now, because it's a penguin, okay, I sewed my baby doll clothes. See, look at how cool that is. I want to give it a little bit of a tail, so even though I know this was like the halfway down, I am going to come in, but then I'm gonna kind of give it a little bit of a tail, you know, because the penguins have, what's that type of, there's a suit that's called that. It's like the penguin suit, the something where the guys have the tails. So we're gonna give her vest a tail, okay? We're gonna give her vest a tail. Alright, nothing perfect, okay? And then, of course, because this is only half, we do need to make sure that we double this, okay? You could totally see that. You could totally see Miss Teresa doing her doll clothes. I know, right? I mean, because she's just cool like that. Like, she's got that really cool vibe. So, yeah, like I said, my sister swears I can sew, but I'm just like, look, just like everything, I literally did kind of this style measurement. Oops, and I did something wrong. Oh, so if I cut it right here, you got to remember that we have to give ourselves some seam allowance. So I actually need to come down, and I need to give myself my seam allowance, because I do need to fold it over to make it look neat and pretty. And even though I am hand stitching this, you can definitely do this on a sewing machine and it will go a lot faster. Just trying to go live from my sewing machine is a little bit difficult, especially, and I don't have the space like to try to, you know, do this. So okay, now the other thing is where you want to kind of curve here so that you have the round for the neck. Okay, all right, so this should be what we would need for our back. So now if I would come to measure it, it about fits perfect on it, right? So, yay, look at that. Okay, that means that I can come and I can put this on here and I can trace this, okay? So that's the first part. So that's the first part done. So we're good on that end. Let me put my needle there before I stab myself or something crazy like that. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is we need to do the front halves. Okay. So I'm gonna need me another piece of paper. Okay. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do some measuring. Again, I'm using this, but you know, you can use an actual measuring tape, and all the good stuff. Okay, so so I have my sewing part here. My sewing part will come here. Okay. We will need to come and do the rest of the vest. Now, under normal circumstances, you would actually have this come closed so that you could have the hole for the armpit, but because of the way the wings are, it's actually kind of, I'm gonna leave it open because if not, it's gonna be weird. It's not gonna look right. But for this stuffy, this is gonna work, okay? Now, for the front, all right, again, I need to measure from the middle of the stuffed animal, okay, over back to where we measured for the middle of under the arm. So that's the first thing I'm going to measure. And again, I'm using my point. I'm using my point and I'm coming over. So I have that first measurement. Okay, so that's my first measurement. That's from the middle of its body up front to where the armpit of the animal is, okay? All right, and then now we need to measure from the top, right, down, okay? And then we have to keep in mind that this side here has to measure up with this, okay? Hey there, my sweet Cajun queen. How are you there, dear? So I am going to use the measurement that I already have, okay? And we already have we have the height that we need, okay? So we have the height that we need. So we're going to use what we have already. Let me turn it this. Let me try to go backwards then. Let me turn it this way so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I have the height, right? This is the overall height that I need. And then I need to have this measurement. So we're going to start with this measurement. I just saw my cat go through, running past the window. I was like, what the? Who knows what he's chasing? He's always chasing something. He's so funny. He's also being very goofy because he didn't want to come inside. Okay, and I need to make sure that I have my height. My proper height. And remember, our height is going to be measured with where that is going to start. So, here's my height. Okay, oops, actually wrong side for the height, because that's where it's going to connect. So I need my height on this side. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys like the penguin. I thought he was super cute. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought she was super cute. My daughter already was like, it's not a he, it's a she. Okay, child. Sorry. Okay, so this is where the armpit is, and this is the overall height, which means that I need to come, and I have to give myself that armpit piece, right? Kind of like what we had originally over here. Kind of. Maybe a little bit less. Okay. And then, you know, most vests come in kind of like a V pattern. So she's gonna have a little bit, but then she's gonna come down in a V. I want her to have that V pattern. All right. Okay, maybe a little more sharp. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. We are in Dusty Granny's event group today, and it is all about fabric and working with fabric and all of the cool things that you can do with fabric. So, of course, you know, I have worked multiple times with fabric, doing, you know, doing journal covers, snippets, you know, adding it into projects and stuff. So I figured that I was actually going to do something maybe you guys have never seen me do, which was actually work with fabric. And I'm creating this pattern for this penguin's vest that I need to work on. Okay, so can never find where the pencil was going. Remember to leave yourself some seam allowance, okay? And then this is going to have to be cut out twice. So this will have to be cut out twice. Because you will need 2 pieces of it, okay? Now, there are patterns out there that you can do and everything, but y'all know me, I don't do the whole measuring thing and everything. Plus, many times, this is what happens. You know, my daughter would have a stuffed animal, and here we go. I have to now, you know, she wants to put clothes on it, so I have to figure it out. You know, I guess it's all relative, really, my friend. Because, like, I do and I don't. It all depends. Okay, so this was the back that we cut. Alright, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can use to mark. If you you know, you can do it with the chalk thing. You can. This is called a friction pen. Hopefully, I'll be able to see this one. And these ones are by Pilot, and they are erasable. So once you heat it, the ink goes away. So these are great for when you're doing sewing projects. Okay. Alright, and so I am just doing a little tracey trace of our little pattern here. You know, it's doing clothing for animals, you know, for stuffies or dolls is actually not that hard. Just look at the composition of the stuffed animal, and many times seeing how it was put together will help you to realize how you need to put your pieces together. The other thing is also think of how clothing is when we buy it, right? Like, what does it, where are the seams, what does it look like, and then just go from there, right? Biggest thing that I always tend to forget is leaving the seam allowance. That tends to always be my kicker, is I'm horrible about leaving a seam allowance. Horrible at it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace. Okay, so this is my back, and then I'm going to have one side, and then I'm going to flip it for the other side. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, these pens are really cool because once you heat them up, they the ink disappears. I don't know, it does some kind of reaction with heat. Don't understand the chemistry behind it. I just think it's really cool, because the whole chalk thing, oh my god. I don't know if anybody's ever used chalk when you guys are doing your, you know, if you do sewing, but I never liked it. Yeah, you know, sewing is not always, it tends to not be people's favorite. And I mean, I could see why. It is definitely, it can definitely be challenging, that's for sure. Right? It can definitely be challenging, that's for sure. But I think there's a lot of fun to have. Like I said, I mean, I would not try to tackle doing a dress for my daughter now. Forget about it. But when she was little, if I messed up a sew or something, it wasn't like she was gonna notice it, right? Or anybody that she would be around would notice it. So I personally would not do anything nowadays other than maybe a skirt. I could get away with doing a skirt, especially an A-line skirt. Those are so darn easy to do, y'all. So easy. If I could really be good at something, I would probably try to learn how to make like the clothing, you know, like the one that they use like at the Ren Fest and stuff. 'Cause then I would like totally make my own costumes. I think that would be cool. So, alright, now it's time to cut. And I knew that most of our time has gone on how to do these little patterns, but that is honestly like the biggest part of it, because once you have your pattern, the sewing part is actually really easy. You could layer this. I'm not going to, but you could totally layer this. You could put I guess a layer of like a solid color or something. Like, I don't know. I know I have muslin. I don't know that I have like a solid cream anywhere, but I know I have muslin, because I keep that, and it's about this same cream color. And of course, like everything, save your scraps. You know, we don't get rid of scraps, even if they are fabric. Why? Because you can turn them into something. You can add them to something, turn them into something. There's always a lot you can do, okay? And I'm sure that if you looked up clothing, like doll clothing or stuffed animal clothing, I'm sure you could find plenty of YouTube videos. Then there is, oh my gosh, what is her name? Let me, I follow her. If you guys follow, let's see, what is her name? It's Apple something. I just saw her earlier when I was going through my messages. Oh, that's because it's on. She does here. Apple Doll Creations. If you follow Apple Doll Creations and you get on her Telegram, she does dolls, like the like different types of dolls, and she will actually like send you like the pictures of the patterns. And she did a cute ghost recently. What else did she do? She did see, like here, this is for, you know, dress, pants. They were doing gingerbread. So she's a great person to follow if you are trying to learn how to do more of this. She is an amazing teacher. Like I said, I've seen her and I started following her. Like I'd seen her and I've seen dolls like that done, and I've done a few. But I forget who told me about getting on her Telegram, because she started sending her patterns through Telegram. And you can put Telegram on, if you don't know how to print from your phone, you can put Telegram on your computer, and then you can print them from your computer, the images. And it's really cool because she'll send the image out ahead of time, and so that way you can follow along when she does her lives. So she is amazing. You love watching her? Yeah. I've watched her for a while, but I did not know about the Telegram. So I was like, ooh, cool. Maybe I'll actually start following a pattern instead of winging it like I do for everything, right? Because that's me. I wing it for everything. But yeah, she's super cool. And there's several creators like that, you know? So definitely follow. And okay, now I have my middle point here, and biggest thing is I am making sure that both sides match as best as possible. And if I need to, I'll trim just a little bit. See, because that one doesn't match up a whole lot. It's gonna be cold this year for Halloween. I feel bad for the trick-or-treaters. I don't know if how much that'll end up affecting, because I mean, seriously, it's been like, it non-stop rained on on Monday, and then today it's been off and on raining, and it is cold and it is icky and just all the things that I am not so happy about, you know? Just all the things that I'm definitely not happy about. Okay. And then I just cut this down the middle. Okay. So here are my pieces. Again, if you want this to be lined, then you just need to take these and you need to cut it on a solid, and then you need to pin your solids together when you go to stitch. I am just going to stitch my edges so that I have like a nice edge. But for now, what I want to show y'all is the sides here. Okay, so we are going to bring our ends together so that we can pin these so that we can sew them. And I know that I left a lot more seam allowance on that side than the rest just because of where it was. So I have to be very careful with how I pin this up. See, and so I have like a whole lot extra left over there, which is not so good. Alright, so we're gonna get some straight pins, and I am just going to pin this so that it doesn't move on me when I go to do my stitches. Okay, there's like little clips that you can use as well if you don't feel comfortable using straight pins. That's how I learned. That's how my grandma taught me to hold things together, was with straight pins. So even to this day, if I'm hemming something, my kids know that they better stay very still or they're gonna get poked. Because that's what I use. Aww. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it, because you know, if you can make it, that's super cool. You know, I am definitely not that good at things. Okay, and let me get this other side pinned as well. And obviously we're going to be stitching on the inside is how we're going to be stitching. But that's really cool though. You know, when you make your own clothes, or you're making them for somebody else, you know that they are like special and they're gonna fit that person because you're making them to their, you know, to their style and to their body. Whereas a lot of the clothing nowadays, you know, I mean, honestly, like it might say, let's say a kid's 7 to 8, and depending on the brand, depending on the cut, it may or may not fit, you know? So you guys can see that there's a good bit of overlap here, and that's going to be good because we're going to have to make sure that we have enough to where we can bring it in and we can put our buttons or something, you know, of the other. Because if we're going to do buttons, then we're going to need to overlap, right? Because we're going to have holes. So I'll have to do that part. But for now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stitch. Okay? And I'm going to start by stitching the pieces together just because that way they are, and then I'll do the edges later. Alright, now where'd you go, needle? Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I like long needles. That's just me. So, well, hello to everybody as you're popping in. We are in the Fabric It event today with a Dusty Granny's event group, and make sure that you are following the group, because it is a free group, okay, where you can see everybody that was on today. There are still several more people to go. I mean, you know, so don't go anywhere. There's still a lot more ideas to come on, you know, things that you can do with fabric. So stick around. Like I said, I wanted to do something a little different from my normal, because, you know, I've done fabric covers so many times. Like, y'all don't need to see that. Y'all see me do that so many times. I'm like, okay. And then I'm just gonna do a little bit of a running stitch, really, more than anything. And again, I am no expert when it comes to sewing, okay? I literally just do it for fun. My grandma would have loved if I would have been better, but, you know, I did good learning from her how to sew buttons and to hem. And then after that, pretty much everything else I have been self-taught. She would have loved if I would have learned to knit, but I couldn't knit for the life of me. My grandma loved to knit. She would sit down for hours and just knit away. She'd make socks and all kinds of stuff. But me, never got the hang of it. I would do one chain and then that was about it. So that was about as far as my capabilities went. After that, I normally would get myself all tangled up. So, okay. Now, the good thing about this is that we can iron it flat if we need to. Okay, but I'm actually going to do now a back stitch. I'm gonna do, which is essentially, well, right now I'm just gonna go backwards with my run-in stitch. It's not a full back stitch, but I want to strengthen this. Yeah, me daughter, I don't know, I tell her my hat's down to her, because she has taught herself to crochet. I mean, yes, a lot of YouTube videos, but still, I just never got it. I know, you know, to the great, you know, deception or disillusion, better said, for my grandmother, I just could never. I learned to cross stitch. That counts for anything. I used to do a lot of cross stitching when I was younger. You only sew by hand. I sew by hand and by machine. I can do both. So that part's not an issue. I can do both. But I love doing slow stitching. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so that end is secure. I'm gonna secure my other end, which is mainly good because that way it holds the pieces together, and then I can start, you know, because I'm doing it by hand, it is easier, so that way I can start doing the edges on everything else. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us were taught to sew at least the basics. You know, but there are definitely those who can do a lot more than just the basics. That's for sure. Like, quilting is so cool, but yeah, you definitely are not going to see this one quilting. That's a lot of work. You want to learn to cross stitch? It is so much fun, and it is so easy. Honestly, it is. It's not hard at all. It really is not hard at all. The biggest thing with cross stitching is to remember which direction you're going. That's always the thing I have to remind myself. I have to remind myself in which direction I'm going, because I tend to forget which way I'm doing my stitch, and then it's kind of like off. So that's normally my problem when it comes to that, is I forget that part. So, alright. You can quilt, but you do not like it. I actually have a friend who, that's like her side thing, is she quilts. She makes memory quilts, and stuff. But quilting is, it's a lot of work, y'all. Okay, so if I were to turn this around, okay, we have the beginnings of, come on, we have the beginnings. Obviously it's not 100% finished yet, but we have the beginnings of our little vest. Look at that. So obviously a lot of the, when I go to making the stitches, I'll take in whatever needs to be taken in. These stitching here is mainly to help me, so that now I can actually learn her, you know, learn her. A cross stitch lesson day? Yeah, that'd be cool. Cross stitching is fun. And there's a few different ways to do it. Thank you. So yeah, so like I'm gonna come in here because I need to, obviously I need to fold this down so we can have a nice neat, you know, little edge here. I gotta go around the armpits. I gotta do the armpits nicely so they sit. Gotta do it here like that as well. Okay, so all of the sides, all of our edges are going to be closed. Okay, all of the edges. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do all of the edges. All right, we'll do all of the edges so that it's nice and neat and it doesn't look rough cut. So this is my rough part, okay, but at least it gives you guys an idea, right, of how you can start making, you know, some clothing. Does it need tweaks? Yes. Like, I noticed that here I'm gonna have to close the gap a little bit, and that's fine. So I'll come in with like a V and I'll just close the gap. But those are all little tweaks that I can do, and I can do it sitting down while I'm watching TV or something. That's one of the things. I have a few minutes. Let me go grab a slow stitch that I've been working on because I want to show you guys what that is. Sorry, it was in my work bag. Okay, because I've started carrying some of this stuff with me to work because I tend to have to wait for my daughter while she's in classes. This was the most recent slow stitch that I did. You've never heard of slow stitching, so it's like hand stitch and embroidery mixed together. Okay, so these were two different types of fabric. All right, and this is just a piece of felt, and I cut this one out to have the flowers, and I paired it up, and then I did my stitching around here. I did my stitching on the squares, and I did them here slightly differently. Okay, and so now this, you can either attach it to more, or this could be a focal point on a journal or anything of that nature. So this is one that I'm working on, and this is the next fabric that I have. And as you guys can see, I'm currently working on this one, and I'm actually taking my thread and I am tracing this doily with my thread, so it'll be all threaded, and so it'll have that 3D effect to it, right? And I'll probably do the same with this one because it's the same style of doily. And then this, I'll just come around it, or I'll just do like the insides. I may have to come on and show you guys how to do some slow stitching because it is fun. Like I said, I mean, I sit there and while my daughter's in class, and I'm just stitching away. And then I'll have multiple blocks of pieces that I can have to use as an additional piece on anything that I want to work on. And you can do this with anything. So like I said, this is one single piece. This was two different pieces of fabric that I pieced together. It is a lot like an applique. Yes, it is. So I'm going more of kind of like you say, kind of like applique route. You can come in and you could do like swirls, you know, kind of like the bee stitches that we think of, and you could do those, right? Or I could come in here and I could do like the stem for this flower and a leaf. You know, you're essentially doodling or drawing on fabric, and you're doing it with thread and a needle. That's what slow stitching is. So it's a lot of fun. and then you can add things to it. So I have like some flowers and ribbon and stuff like that if I want to add to it. But yeah, I just made myself a little bag, and this stays with me in my work bag. So if I have a break, which nowadays I do have a break, by the time I'm done with classes and I'm waiting for my daughter, because she stays for 2 additional classes, Georgia history and for sewing. So I work on this while she's doing her sewing. But thank you so much, Sweet Wendy, for having me. Let's go watch Aimee, because I know she's on. I am curious to see what she will be doing. Once my little vest is done, I will take a picture of it. It's not gonna be tonight. And once my daughter gets done, she says she'll have it by the weekend. Her little crocheted scarf that will match, and I have my little penguin all together. I'll take a picture and post it. But yeah, it'll be on the raid train on Sunday evening. So yay. I love you too, Miss Carla. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Remember, be kind, stay warm, guys, because it's cold. And I love y'all. Let's go watch Miss Aimee and play with your fabric. Bye.